This is the ninth installment of the Alien franchise, if we're including things like the Alien versus Predator offshoots. But really, we're going back to basics, back to almost the beginning, because in the timeline of the franchise, this is actually sandwiched between the first and second films in the series way back when. Let's talk about Alien Romulus. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new Alien film Romulus. This is currently in theaters as of this recording, and yeah, kind of a back to basics approach with this franchise, because the last couple of installments were under sort of the Prometheus umbrella. We had Prometheus and then Alien Covenant, which was in 2017, and those were both sort of kind of offshoots of their own regard. But in any event, we'll get into all of the specifics here and my thoughts on this film shortly. First, though, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. If you are not one of my subscribers already, please click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well. But if you are one of my subscribers, thank you so much. Just click that like button or comment below. All that stuff, of course, is going to help the channel out too. All right, so let's get to this film. I didn't watch any of the Alien movies until I guess whatever the Winona Ryder one was in the late 90s. Since then, I have seen all of them. I finally watched the original couple with Sigourney Weaver maybe like 10 years ago. And it's easy to see why they are, regarded as such classics. So this movie, like I said, takes place timeline-wise after the events of that first movie and before the events of Aliens, which was the second movie, of course. And in this one, we have a group of downtrodden young space colonists. I would say age-wise, I don't know. They're probably supposed to be in their early 20s, maybe late teens. It's hard to tell when casting something like this, because people in their mid-20s can play teenagers and stuff. So it's never really specified, I don't think, how old these people are, but I would say young adults, if nothing else. But they go in pursuit of better life conditions, and end up sort of going out on their own quest, and end up encountering some hostile creatures that we, of course, as the audience know as xenomorphs, as they are trying to scavenge a space station. That's the basic premise here. We have a newcomer in the director's seat to this franchise. That is Fede Alvarez, whose filmography includes some really great horror movies from the last 10 years or so. He did the Evil Dead remake, and he also did Don't Breathe from 2016, I think, which was really, really good movie. But then he also directed Don't Breathe 2, which was terrible. But I think that was just, an awful script. I'm not sure that there was anything he could have done as a director to save that. So, definitely in that sort of horror realm. And Evil Dead, obviously, a reimagining or reboot of the 80s horror classic. So sort of treading on similar ground here, as we're taking a very beloved franchise and, sticking him in the driver's seat. But Ridley Scott, who, of course, has directed a lot in the series, he is a producer here, so he's still kind of, got his hands in the mix. This stars Kaylee Spaney, who has been in a few kind of higher profile movies lately. She was Priscilla Presley in the Priscilla movie last year. And she was also in something else I just saw. Oh, Civil War, which is one of my favorite movies of the year. So her star certainly on the rise. And then David Johnson is playing an android, basically reprogrammed by the Kaylee Spaney's character's father, as her sort of surrogate brother, and we sort of get into their background as we move forward. And then the other people, I gotta say, they're kind of not relevant. I mean, they're fine, they're along for the ride, but it's like those first couple of Alien movies with Sigourney Weaver. Like, there's a handful of people that I just don't really matter too much. We don't know much about their background. They're kind of one note, but they are played by Archie Renault, Spike Fearn, and Isabella Merced, and Eileen Wu as well. So. All right, that's, kind of the basic premise and the who's who here. And Kaylee Spaney plays this character, Rain, who is an orphaned minor, and that's sort of why the surrogate brother exists to, sort of help with her, day-to-day stuff. And basically his one directive is to take care of her, do what's best for her. But some of the other guys on the mission have some different thoughts of what to do with this android. Let's get into the movie itself. So there are a lot of things really to like here, but some of the things to like are things that we have seen before. A lot of the things happening in this movie are, things that have been covered in other Alien movies. Look, there's a couple of direct homages to the original, and that's fine and dandy. And there may be even more that I wasn't really aware of. I've only seen, I think I saw the original movie twice, and I've seen the other ones, except Prometheus. I saw that twice as well. But all the other ones I've only seen once, so I'm not, so deep into this. But, there may have been some other references. But, for example, they do say, "Get your hands off of her, you bitch." That's one of the classic lines from the original film that makes its way into this. And I think things like that are more of an homage or a little bit of a wink to the audience. But some of the other stuff, I'm not sure if it was meant to so directly mirror some of the things we've seen before in this franchise. Because then we get into kind of more lazy territory. And I liked seeing them. I thought, visually, this was a very interesting movie. And I really liked how we have all of this old tech, because we are in the early days of this franchise, timeline wise with where this movie takes place. So it's cool to see a lot of that old school tech and computer usage and stuff like that. Okay, sure. I can get behind that. It's interesting. And also I liked the idea from this director to actually have us see everything that's going on. And this has been sort of, I think, going away a little bit, this horrible, horrible trend of not being able to see anything in your movie. There's been a lot of movies with like really dark scenes, either at night or in a darkened room or whatever. And, the whole screen is basically just black. Like you can't see anything as the audience. And I haven't really found too many movies in the last maybe year or so that do that. So luckily, maybe we're going away from that. But almost every scene in this movie takes place in a darkened place. I mean, in the original sort of world where they are, these young adults, they never see the sun. It's dark, every hour of the day. So that's all dark. And then when they go into space, that's all dark. And then when they go into these different rooms of the space station, and that's dark. But guess what? I could see everything in the whole movie. I knew what was happening. I knew who was who. So sad to say, but that is definitely a plus for this movie. And interesting because I would have to go back and watch the first Don't Breathe, because the guy is blind in that movie, so there's not a lot of lights on in his house, and the guys are going to rob it and everything, which actually has sort of a similar plot to this. This group of young adults that are trying to basically rob somebody of something, take something that's not theirs. So, all right, a little similar, I suppose. But in any event, I would have to go back to that movie and see how the lighting was. I don't really remember, but it's great here. And so that kind of stuff, like atmospherically, it works. The set design is cool and all of that. And look, as with a lot of sci-fi stuff, the most compelling character, like by a mile, is the android, the robot. And again, I'll say the name of that guy, David Johnson. I am most familiar with him from the TV show Industry on HBO, which just started season 3. Everybody's been talking about that. I actually only watched season 1, but he's in that. And so I knew him from that, but he's great here. And look, Kaylee Spaney is great too. I think she definitely could be one to watch. I loved her version of Priscilla Presley. And she was fine in Civil War. That really wasn't an acting showcase as much as it was about the writing of the film and everything, but she was fine in that. But here she's great as well. But yeah, the robot is definitely the standout character for me, for sure. I just wish this wasn't quite such a a let's play, the hits of the Alien franchise over the years. And I wish it was something a little bit more original, but it was certainly enjoyable to watch. And I would say it's definitely better than the previous installment, which was Covenant. Maybe about on par with Prometheus, which I think I originally gave a B plus, but upon retrospect, it's probably more of a B. This is in that range for me, B, B plus. So I will leave Alien Romulus with a B. I think if it was a little more original, we could have gotten a slightly higher grade on that, but very enjoyable. And yeah, interested to see what this director does next and if he can branch out from some of these horror properties, and give us something maybe more dramatic or, I don't know, maybe even a comedy, who knows. But so far, he's been batting pretty well with the horror genre. So, all right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and I'll see you next time.